Okay, today there's a huge interest in supplements that might slow the aging process, especially amongst us baby boomers, older people. People want to live a long time, but they want to live healthy. There's no point in living an extended life if you're suffering from various illnesses, you're in constant pain, and all that. And one of the key ways to maintain health as you age, I guess most people already know this, is exercise. If you don't exercise, your body falls apart because the body basically is a machine. It's a biological machine, and the dictum, use it or lose it, applies to the entire body from the top of the head to the tip of the toes. If you don't use your brain, you lose brain cells or neurons. If you don't use your muscles, they disappear, they shrink. You get a condition called sarcopenia, which is a loss of muscle with age. That leads to a loss of mobility, where you can't even stand up, you can't even feed yourself, you wind up having to go in a nursing home, and it's a slow descent into death. So if you don't exercise right off the bat, forget about a healthy aging situation. But as I said, some people want to take food supplements, certain food supplements, in the hope that it will help kind of promote a healthy aging, help prevent some degenerative diseases that are common with aging. So I'm going to talk about a couple of the more popular ones here. Obviously, I'm going to have to limit, because this is a video, not a podcast. I mean, to talk about all the substances that could possibly have a positive effect on aging would take. I mean, some podcasts are 3 hours. This podcast would take about 6 hours, and I wouldn't torture you with trying to do that. However, I will say that much of the information related to anti-aging compounds and other ways to promote healthy aging are incorporated in my Applied Metabolics newsletter. I always have a lot of information on what I call practical longevity, which are ways to extend, well, not necessarily extend, but to keep you healthy as long as possible. But let's get right into it here, because the limited time span, I'm going to try and keep this to no more than 20-25 minutes. Let's talk about some of the more effective anti-aging supplements. Well, anti-aging, let's say healthy aging would be a better expression. But anyway, the first one that comes to mind is curcumin. Curcumin, that's the active compound in a substance called turmeric. Curcumin gives the yellow color to turmeric. It's found in large amounts in a food that's popular in India called curry, and it's been shown to have a couple of anti-aging properties, and it's also a powerful antioxidant, which alone would impart anti-aging effects. It seems to have an effect on cellular senescence. Cellular senescence involves when cells stop dividing. Body cells normally divide up to a certain point. They sometimes call that the Hayflick limit. Some people say cells can divide about 50 times. Every time they divide, the telomere, which is these little strings of DNA at the end of the cell, gets shortened every time the cell divides. Eventually, when the telomeres disappear or get shortened to the point of nothingness, the cell basically goes into senescence. It basically stops dividing, kind of like sits there. But the problem is, it not only does it not just sit there, but it secretes a number of pro-inflammatory cytokines, which cause systemic inflammation, all kinds of heart problems. They're called senescence-associated secretory phenotype, these compounds. Curcumin has a potent anti-inflammatory effect, and by reducing some of these anti-inflammatory compounds released by senescent cells, it might help to slow down the aging process, or at least make you feel better, because your body will have less inflammation. The bad news is that curcumin, even in low amounts, unfortunately has been associated with actually accelerating cell senescence. So you don't want to go crazy with curcumin, but it does do a couple of other things that actually do aid longevity. For example, it activates proteins called sirtuins. There are 6 or 7, I forget offhand, 6 or 7 sirtuins. These are cell-protecting proteins. Other nutrients that are famous for activating sirtuins include resveratrol, found in grapes and red wine. Curcumin also activates a compound, a protein called AMP activated protein kinase. kinase. It's an enzyme called AMPK, which helps to delay cellular senescence. So by activating AMPK, the curcumin might actually overrule the cell senescence promoting effects of curcumin. Studies have shown that curcumin has been shown to combat cellular damage and significantly increase the lifespan of various animal species, fruit flies, roundworms, mice. It's also been shown to prevent various age-related diseases. Some studies show, Alzheimer's disease has been traced to two abnormal proteins in the brain, beta amyloid 42 and another protein called tau, TAU. The tau is responsible for the neurofibrillary tangles, which are characteristic of Alzheimer's disease, but can also occur without Alzheimer's disease, but it occurs to a greater extent in Alzheimer's disease. And it turns out that if you can get curcumin into the brain, it actually helps to prevent the accumulation of beta amyloid and tau. And better yet, it actually helps the body to remove beta amyloid and tau. So theoretically, if you can get curcumin into the brain, it'll help prevent Alzheimer's disease. And there's some indirect evidence that it's true, because India, the people in India are the largest consumers of curry, which is used as a spice in various foods. And it turns out that the incidence of Alzheimer's disease in India is the lowest in the world. And they think it might have something to do with the natural turmeric that exists in curry and the curcumin that's found in the turmeric. The bad thing about the negative aspect of curcumin is the fact that it's very hard to absorb. Most of it's broken down. It's conjugated in the liver, where they don't know how active it is. It might not be active, if you find a way to increase what they call free curcumin, you would get a lot of the health benefits. There are some supplements that package curcumin, it's an effect where it kind of sneaks into the body. There's either a lipid outer layer, or they use various chemicals which increase the uptake of curcumin into the blood. These type of supplements are probably the most effective ones to take. I don't want to go into naming these particular supplements, because then this video would turn into an advertisement. So but you could find out just by doing a little research. Do a search for high absorption curcumin supplements, and you'll find it. Another popular supplement that can help with aging is called epigallocatechin gallate, or EGCG. This is one of the main active antioxidant compounds found in green tea. Green tea has so many health benefits I can go into that it would take 2 hours alone to talk about it. But let's put it this way: EGCG has been shown to help reduce the risk of various cancers, and also to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. And it also helps to involved in promoting longevity, because it helps to restore mitochondrial function in cells. The mitochondria are the energy powerhouses of cells. They're these little cigar-shaped structures that lie in the cytoplasm, or the watery portion of cells. This is where energy is produced in the cell as ATP, and where fat or fatty acids are burned in a process called beta oxidation. You could say that mitochondria are the powerhouses or energy source of cells. So when mitochondria die out, the cells die out, and that's aging. That's one of the major theories of aging: loss of mitochondria. Mitochondria are particularly concentrated in high energy tissues such as the brain and muscles, and they think that a loss of mitochondria in the brain could cause various degenerative brain diseases, and in muscles it can contribute to sarcopenia, the loss of muscle with age. EGCG can also stimulate AMPK, which would oppose the activity of mTOR. mTOR is another enzyme involved in protein synthesis. It's anabolic, but as you age, your body tends to produce too much mTOR, and this rapidly ages tissues and cells, and is also involved in the onset of various diseases. The antidote to mTOR is AMPK. So if you raise AMPK, you can control mTOR. AMPK also initiates a process in the body called autophagy, which is the way your body gets rid of old beat-up cells such as senescent cells. Another way to initiate autophagy is through fasting. But the problem with fasting is to get any significant extent of autophagy, the minimal amount of fasting time would be 24 hours. Shorter fasts like 8, 12, or 16 hours, you get very little autophagy. But EGCG alone, by stimulating AMPK, can independently stimulate autophagy. Intake of green tea has also been associated with a reduced risk of all-cause mortality. It helps to reduce diabetes, stroke, and heart disease-related death. It's also been shown to help reduce the incidence of degenerative brain disease such as Alzheimer's disease. And when used topically, it can actually prevent the oxidation effect in the skin that causes DNA damage and consequent skin aging and wrinkles. So you can get EG by either drinking green tea. The people in the Asian countries average up to 9 cups a day of green tea, 4 to 9 cups. If you take a concentrated green tea extract, most of them contain the amount of EGCG that's found in 4 cups of green tea. So you don't have to take a lot of the green tea extract. You don't want to go crazy on green tea extract because some people have a genetic abnormality where the excess amounts of green tea can cause severe liver problems, including liver failure. It's very rare, but it happens, so you got to be careful of that. Another anti-aging supplement, especially for the skin and joints, would be collagen. Pre-digested collagen or collagen peptides is very good. There's a controversy in medicine where they say, well, if you ingest orally pre-digested or collagen peptides, it's just broken down like any other protein in the stomach, so you don't get any benefit. But studies have found that's not true. If it's in a collagen peptide form, it does get into the body, and some studies show that it can reduce signs of aging, including wrinkles and dry skin. A 2019 study of 72 women demonstrated that taking a supplement that contained only 2.5 grams of collagen per day for 12 weeks significantly improves skin hydration, or the water content of skin, which kind of puffs up the skin and reduces the look of fine lines and wrinkles, and also improve skin roughness and increase skin elasticity. Another study of 114 women found that treatment with 2.5 grams of collagen peptides for 8 weeks significantly reduced eye wrinkles and increased collagen levels in the skin. Unfortunately, the studies that I just quoted were sponsored by companies that sell the product, but it doesn't mean that collagen might not help. I use collagen. I don't use it necessarily as an anti-aging. I use it hopefully because it helps to improve connective tissue strength. I'm using it to try to help prevent injuries. Coenzyme Q10 is often considered a longevity supplement. It's an antioxidant that's particularly active in the mitochondria. I pointed out earlier how important mitochondria are. They're the energy source of the cell. And unfortunately, the greatest amount of oxidation or oxidative byproducts, like free radical, is produced as a result of the metabolism of oxygen in the mitochondria. So the mitochondria itself are very susceptible to oxidative damage, and it relies on substances such as coenzyme Q10 to absorb some of this free radicals that could damage and destroy the mitochondria. A study of 443 older adults demonstrated that supplementing with coenzyme Q10 and selenium for over 4 years improved their overall quality of life, reduced hospital visits, and slowed the deterioration of physical and mental performance. Coenzyme Q10 supplements, also known as ubiquinone, they reduce oxidative stress. And I should tell you that there's 2 main forms of coenzyme Q10. One of them is called ubiquinone, the other one's called ubiquinol. Ubiquinol is a kind of reduced form that has up to 7 times greater absorption. Normally, coenzyme Q10 can be made in the body from amino acids such as tyrosine, but as you get older, past 40, you kind of lose the ability to manufacture coenzyme Q10 in sufficient amounts. So a lot of people recommend, people who study this, recommend taking a ubiquinol supplement after age 40. the amount is about at least 100 milligrams a day. If you have any tendency to get, for example, oxidative diseases like Parkinson's, you can take up to 300 milligrams a day. I myself, I take about 200 milligrams a day. I take a form of Coenzyme 10 that's both water and fat soluble, because unfortunately, Coenzyme Q10 is very, very hard to absorb, extremely hard to absorb. And if you take it with a glass of water, it's going to pass right through you. It's not going to do a damn thing. You got to take it with fat. You don't have to have a lot of fat, but it always has to be taken with fat, or it passes right through you. Or you can do what I do. You can take a form that's soluble in both water and fat. You get greater absorption. There's a particular form of Coenzyme Q10 supplement called MitoQ that some studies have shown that is particularly active in the mitochondria, and it might have more protective effects in preserving mitochondria with age. But unfortunately, the studies that have shown that, again, have been sponsored and paid for by the company that manufactures MitoQ. And I should also point out that MitoQ is by far the most expensive form of Coenzyme Q10. It's about 3 times more expensive than the other forms of Coenzyme Q10. Right now, there's two supplements that are kind of at a height of popularity, you could say right now, are called nicotinamide riboside and nicotinamide mononucleotide, or NR or NMN. There's dozens of videos about this stuff. And I tell you, I get a kick out of the videos because there's this one old English guy who's always giving his medical lab tests, and he puts pictures of, he shows before and after pictures. He's been on NMN and a couple of other supplements. He's real big on supplements, and he shows these before and after pictures. It's kind of sad because he looks younger in the before pictures than in the after pictures, but nobody has the heart to point this out to the guy. But anyway, that doesn't mean that this stuff is bad. Now, the theoretical reason to take these supplements is that they're precursors for a substance in the body called NAD. NAD stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, and this is an extremely important energy substance in the body. In other words, as David Sinclair, a famous scientist from Harvard, he always says if you remove all the NAD from the body, you'd be dead in 6 seconds. That's how important NAD is. Unfortunately, as you age, your body produces less NAD, and NAD is needed to activate anti-aging mechanisms in the body, such as the sirtuin proteins I mentioned earlier, and also it's involved in mitochondrial preservation and also in the health of blood vessels. So, if you could increase your NAD, it would probably definitely have anti-aging effects. Unfortunately, as people age, there's a protein called CD38 that unfortunately breaks down NAD, and it increases with age, and that's why your body actually has less NAD as you get older. One way around this would be to consume a nutrient called apigenin, which is found naturally in vegetables, particularly high in parsley, especially dried parsley, which I understand tastes like crap. I've never tried it, but they sell supplemental apigenin. Apigenin would probably be, if you don't want to, the NR and NM are pretty expensive supplements. If you don't want to spend that money, you could try taking apigenin supplement, which unfortunately is also pretty expensive, but it's a little bit cheaper than NR and nicotinamide mononucleotide. I should also tell you that the studies with NR have shown tremendous results in rodents and animals. The animal studies have shown little or no effect. Most recent studies of NR have shown that it increases NAD only in the liver. It doesn't increase it anywhere else, not in the muscles, which means it's kind of useless for humans. The door is still open for nicotinamide mononucleotide, or NMN. A recent human study showed that it did seem to increase human endurance, which is an indication that maybe it does get into the muscles. If you're going to take this stuff, nicotinamide NMN, you have to take about 1 gram a day. There was some studies for a 2019 study in 12 men with an average age of 75 showed that supplementing with 1 gram of NR for 21 days did increase NAD levels in skeletal muscle, and reduce levels of inflammatory proteins in the body. But as I said, newer studies more recently this year showed that NR only increases NAD in the liver. There was no indication that it increased it in the muscles. And the study that I just mentioned showing an increase in skeletal muscle was sponsored by the company that basically sells NRR. So you always have to be careful of that. I'll mention a couple other, I don't want to make the video too long. In passing, a couple other quick, supposedly anti-aging supplements. Theanine. Theanine's an amino acid that's concentrated in green tea. It has a tremendous relaxing effect. It increases what they call alpha waves, which are brain waves associated with relaxation and anti-stress. It seems to help protect against mental decline. And in roundworms, it increases the lifespan by 5%. Again, that's no indication that's going to do the same for humans. Rhodiola. Rhodiola is a medicinal plant that has potent anti-inflammatory effects. Again, when they give fruit flies rhodiola, I hesitate to even mention this kind of stuff. It led to a 17% increase in their lifespan. Whether it's going to do that in humans, I don't know. I don't think anyone knows. Garlic. Test tube and rodent studies have shown that supplementing garlic might help prevent UV light-induced skin aging and wrinkles. Astragalus is another herb, can help supposedly combat aging by reducing oxidative stress. There's a form of astragalus that's sold. I can't remember the name of it, but it's an extremely expensive supplement. I've written about it in Applied Metabolics. It's alleged to slow down the shortening of telomeres. However, I've seen studies that show that it's not that effective. And this stuff costs like $200 a month to supplement. So, Fisetin. Fisetin is actually it's been shown to studies to help remove senescent cells. It's the most potent natural remover of senescent cells. So, Fisetin might actually help to extend life and keep you healthier. It's found naturally in strawberries, though it's very minute amounts, and a couple of other fruits and vegetables. The problem with Fisetin is that it's very, very hard to absorb, so you have to take a pretty good amount. If you want to use it for the anti-senescent effect, average-sized person would need to take about 2 grams a day or 2,000 milligrams. That can be pretty expensive. Finally, the last one, of course, is one of the most famous, resveratrol. It's a polyphenol compound found in grapes, berries, peanuts, and red wine. For years, it was thought to be the reason why the French people can eat a lot of fat in their food, and butters and all that stuff, and not have heart disease because they drink red wine with each meal, and the resveratrol in the red wine was supposedly protecting them. That turned out to be false, turned out to be a myth. The French actually are more active. They engage in more physical activity, and they tend to be less obese. That's the true secret of why they can eat those, let's say, higher fat foods. And even when they eat the higher fat foods, they don't shove it in their mouth and eat like 10 pounds of it. They eat modest amounts, which is not going to cause any problems. So that's basically it. Again, there's dozens of other compounds that that have supposedly anti-aging effects. If you want to know about them, subscribe to my Applied Metabolics newsletter. I cover this on a regular basis, but I don't just write about them. More importantly, I write about the practical ways you can use them. It's pointless to say that resveratrol helps you to extend life by stimulating SIRT2 That doesn't mean anything. What you want to know is, how do you use resveratrol? What's the best way to use it? How much should you take? All of that stuff is covered in my articles in Applied Metabolics. Just in passing, I will say that similar to Coenzyme Q10, you got to take resveratrol with a good amount of fat, because it's kind of like it's kind of a granular substance in capsules, and when you take it, it's so kind of hard. It's like little stones. It passes right through you. So if you don't take it with fat, you're wasting it. A lot of people take resveratrol with a glass of water, passes right through you. It's like swallowing pebbles. So that's about it for this subject. I'm already up to 24 minutes, so I'm going to end this. And I will say, if you want more information on longevity supplements and aging research in general, hormonal research, fat loss techniques that really work, ergogenic aids, exercise science, the truth about nutritional supplements, women's health and fitness, and many other topics. I cover more topics than any other digital publication available. And also it's at an extremely modest price. I give you 40 to 50 pages each month, solid information, no advertisements. I'm not trying to push anything on you, no supplement. I'm not trying to sell you supplements. I'm not associated with any supplement company. And I have one of the least expensive digital newsletters on the entire internet. There's other newsletters that give you about a quarter of amount of the information I do each month, and they charge $30 a month. Others are written in very, very thick medicalese style, which is very hard for people to understand without a science background. And there's another one I saw the other day that's being published. Well, I don't know if it's a newsletter, but it's a subscription service by a academic researcher. Her subscription charges to get the whole package, if you want to call it that, it's $250 a month. So mine is $10 a month. So, you know, I think it's pretty obvious which way to go if you really want to learn something. So subscribe today at www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, only open to subscribers of Applied Metabolics, where each day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and medicine. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage where current subscribers only can send me short questions, which I will answer. I will not answer unsolicited questions, but I have to add something here. A recent subscriber must have seen one of my videos where I said you could send me short questions. This guy sends me about 15, 20 questions a day. I mean, you know, come on, you know, I'm trying to add this as a bonus. I appreciate your subscriptions, so I answer questions, but you know, there's got to be a limit. I mean, I'm not some sort of, what is it called? This guy, I'm not on call to answer every question this guy has for, he's abusing it. That's what I'm saying. I'll answer like 1 or 2 questions, but I'm not going to answer like 20. You're not going to answer 50 questions a day for $10 a month. Sorry. If you want something like that, you're going to have to do a paid consultation. And there's nobody on the entire earth that would do that. So, you know, anyway, that's about it. So, again, www.appliedmetabolics.com. If you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. Take care. Goodbye.